one guy in Malta told me like, hey, we're searching some people in the gambling industry. So I was like, yeah, let's move to that. The biggest affiliates are all in the gambling industry. They're almost the biggest, media in terms of money making on internet.
What has been your experience with the French, and especially French versus English SEO scene? Because you've been kind of exposed to both.
There is one big difference, which is the size of the markets.
But how do you approach link building in international markets?
And when I went to foreign markets, to take an example, I worked a bit in Italy, and I went in Italy and I was like, okay, now I will check out the best platform to buy links in Italy. There is none. What the hell, we have 15 of them and there is none in Italy.
So talking about AI, have you been using AI much in your own work?
Yeah, everybody uses AI, to be honest. Perhaps not every time in a good way, but everybody tries at least.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode where I'll be interviewing some of the SEO experts from around the world. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to another Chiang Mai resident, though I'm no longer in Chiang Mai, unfortunately, but another Chiang Mai resident who I met in Chiang Mai and who I met at the Chiang Mai conference and who actually attended my Phuket SEO mastermind back in 2022. Now, Leo has been involved in various different companies, starting out, I believe it's Cdiscount, which is a very big French discount website, and then moving into various different gambling companies and lead generation companies, mainly being their head of SEO or some kind of SEO lead role. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Leo to the show, please.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. That's like a real pleasure to be here on your show today. And I used to speak a little bit in the French SEO community, but not much in the international one. So it's really pleasant for me to start to speak in the international SEO community.
100%. I feel like there's kind of a lack of French SEO influencers that are out in the English. Like I know quite a lot of the French SEO scene, right? But they just don't seem to kind of participate, or not participate, but they definitely do participate. They don't seem to be on like stages or influencers and things like that, doing interviews and stuff as much as kind of the other people and stuff are. And I think that's a bit of a shame, because I think that the French SEO community is quite advanced, right? And there's quite a lot of really high level people in there. And there's quite a lot of awesome stuff going on.
Yeah, so to be honest, I think that the French are not like so much mixing with all the international. We have like quite a big international scene in France, and it's like quite crazy because we have like that's like our whole microcosm. Like the people stay here and continue to work with French people, etc. Except Gael Breton that went international. All the other French people they stay national. That's a bit sad. The French SEO community, I really love it because it's like, in my opinion, it's really advanced. It's like one of the best in the world. Really black hat, but not the same black hat like the Eastern Europe community, about hacking and stuff like that. More about black hat, like a little bit of spam, a little bit of link building at great scale, a little bit of every black hat stuff that you can find, mixed in their own way, So that's always funny to have the French SEO community, which is quite different in the SEO approach than every other SEO community overall, and really different from the English speaking one, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll get on to that in a little bit later. I just wanted to ask you first, how did you get started in SEO?
So I started doing my studies. I think I'm one of the only SEO that study, to become an SEO. I'm not just like auto learning and everything. But I just fell in love with SEO. I just like started during my studies, and after I was like, okay, this stuff is like so crazy, and I was discovering new techniques by new techniques. And initially, I studied computing science. So every like computing related stuff, every code stuff, I was like digging into SEO. So all the technical part was quite easy for me. I was like digging into that, and that's like I used to love that, I was spending so much time on YouTube, so much time on every blog, so much time trying stuff. So yeah, I did a little bit of freelance while I was student. After, so in France we have this type of program where you do half of your time in school, half of your time working at a company. So I was working at Cdiscount, which is like the biggest French retail site that you have. Below Amazon, which is not French, but like still have a large scale, in terms of share of the market. And then I want to move abroad. So I was in France, and I was like, yeah, going on Twitter, we search an SEO abroad. And one guy in Malta told me like, hey, we're searching some people in the gambling industry, So I was like, yeah, let's move to that. And so I've been in Malta for 2 years and a half. Doing a lot of gambling affiliate business, and after I moved to Thailand to keep in the gambling affiliate business, and still doing that until recently, where I moved from gambling affiliate business to other affiliate business.
Oh, okay. So you're still within the affiliate network, the kind of industry
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, 100%. Okay, so I want to talk about the French SEO community and industry a
yeah.
little bit more because, as I said, it is quite advanced. And I didn't put in my notes. I would say that it is more black hat than most other languages and most other communities and things, right? And I would say that there's not this kind of ethical or like moral dilemma that we have in the English SEO scene, where everyone thinks that like Google is some kind of saint, you know, and that if you go against Google's guidelines, you're the bad guy kind of thing, right? I don't think that really is the case in the French scene, and I think that there is quite a lot of people that kind of endorse the black hat SEO tactics more so than the other stuff. What has been your experience with the French, and especially the French versus English SEO scenes? Because you've been kind of exposed to both of them.
Yeah, so to start, the funny thing is that the starting point of the French SEO community, the first French SEO that we had, which is like started in 1997 or something like that, we called everyone in French, every SEO in French called him the Pope of SEO, So he's the French guy, the white hat guy, was always like the white hat guy and presented everything in white hat way. And then like the next generation of SEO, all the ones starting in 2000 until like 2010, all of them, all of the big names that have been in French, they all have been like, not white hat, not truly white hat, not truly black, but like in between, like accepting, just doing the best of both of them, So a lot of SEO and me included, grow up and like learn SEO with as a model, not the first pop of SEO, but the second layer, which was like all mixed black white hat SEO, using a lot of backlinking. So net linking was big thing in French. And so I saw sometimes, yeah, still on Twitter and stuff like that, like people in English speaking community being like, oh no, you should not do that, that's not in the guidelines and everything. And in France, like every people are like, man, if you follow the guidelines, you're just dead, you just don't follow the guidelines. That's not the game, the game is just being first. So we consider, I think we consider that we have to take some risk, that going out of the guidelines is part of the risk, but like, as in every business, you have to take some risk at some point if you want to get some good results.
Yeah, 100%. No, I don't think many entrepreneurs did very well without taking any risks whatsoever, right? Then there needs to be some risk to get the reward, right? So you said you've done a fair amount of work in the kind of gambling industry and the gambling SEO space. What would you say the major differences between the English gambling SEO SERPs and the non-English gambling SEO SERPs?
So there is one big difference, which is the size of the markets, and therefore the size of the sites and the money that is invested in every sites. So typically, if you go in UK or US or stuff like that, the sites that are operating are like really big sites. When I'm speaking about really big sites, like from the top biggest sites in the world, in terms of links, in terms of authority, in terms of money invested in the sites every year, every day, every year. So on other markets, it's more smaller. But it's comparing to the markets. You just get to the another level. After there is like really main differences when you go in regulated markets and unregulated markets. As soon as you go in regulated markets and stay in regulated markets, so where the casino online casino is legal, you have like all the big major actors and stuff like that. If you check the SERP in the unregulated market, where the casino is not supposed to be legal, is not legal, and you are not supposed to do affiliate business on it or operate a casino. Here, it's like way more black hat and way more like dynamic, I will say, in terms of SERP of actors. They're like much more smaller actors, much more places, because I will say that less money is invested, or like money is invested differently, because you know that your domain will not stand forever in this type of markets. So there is, I think, the biggest difference is more between regulated and unregulated, and between English and non-English there is like a big one as well, according to the money that is invested in the domains and everything.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a lot of big like stock-based companies, almost, like billion-dollar companies and things, right?
Yeah,
Who are doing
that's crazy, so like
yeah.
big stock company, public company,
Yeah.
only based on affiliate business for gambling, and there is like several of them. It's not like just one of them, and there's like several millions. It's crazy, to be honest, it's crazy. And I still think now that there is few big company and affiliate business that are public and doing like big numbers and everything, but they're like media companies, like if you go to Dotdash Meredith type of group and everything is like super big companies and big media groups. But if you go on web-based only type of companies, I think the biggest affiliates are all in the gambling industry, and just like from they're almost the biggest, media in terms of money making on the internet. So it's like quite crazy.
And now for a quick message from our sponsor, Search Intelligence. If you're looking for digital PR campaigns, what you're about to see should impress you.
This is how we landed massive links for our client in The Sun, a DR90 website, and many other UK news websites. We have used freely available data from YouGov to simply find out what the nation's favorite car brand is and which brands people love the most. Of course, Rolls-Royce came out on top, Aston Martin second, and Jaguar third. We put these insights in a short email and sent it to journalists that write about cars and to national news desks on behalf of our client. Within a few days, our client got featured in all the Suns, as well as many regional newspaper sites in the UK, gaining DR90 links to their leasing comparison website. YouGov website is full of unlimited PR stories with data already available for free. All you have to do is to start researching their data and start asking the data questions. You will be surprised of the unlimited PR campaigns that you will find there that can help you build massive exposure and links to your or your clients' websites. I hope this video is helpful and inspirational.
So I want to talk about how you approach link building for international markets and things, right? Because you kind of said it yourself there. There's a lot of spam that goes on, a lot of mass link building and stuff. I know there also seems to be a lot of French link building platforms. So there's a lot of French link building vendors and sellers and a lot of platforms that you can go and buy links off of. And there was even some controversy last year when a guy ran away with a few million euros of link buyers' money because he was running a link platform and then he just gambled it all away, unfortunately. But how do you approach link building in international markets?
Yeah, so I will tell you the story that my story for link building, because it will be a good example. So I was like doing my link building in French, always, because I was operating on French markets. So I was with like few French link brokers. I was on few platforms. I used to sell links at the beginning when I was students. It was a good way for me to make money. I was like link exchanging on Facebook groups, stuff like that. But it was like so much developed, there used to be like so much platforms. There was like, I think nowadays there's like 15 platforms easily, which is all like big platform with employees and everything in France. And so that's so easy to buy links. So you find your good platforms, your favorite one, the one with like the best UI, UX. That's like you're really choosing a service, And so I spent so much time like in this ecosystem. And when I went like to foreign markets, to take an example, I work a bit in Italy, and I went to Italy and I was like, okay, now I will check out the best platform to buy links in Italy. There is none. And I was like, what the hell? We are 15 of them and there is none in Italy. And so I check another market and there is none as well. So it's like I realized that the whole platform to sell links was only French, because like French people were so much accepting selling links. Nobody will go like export every site and send them to Google report or stuff like that. They're selling links, blacklist them. So I realized that you have to do it differently in outside of the French markets. So in French market, super easy. You go to the best platforms that you can find. You can DM me for that. Like I think eReferrer is the best nowadays, like the cheapest. And it's easy. You buy links. Everything is cheap. No need to negotiate. So easy. If you go in foreign markets, that's a different business. Best is still to do some outreach, so you ping every sites that are like in the top 100 and you're like, hey, will you sell me a links, or you find some brokers as well. There is some good brokers out there. But it's a bit way more complicated than just having to, a list of 10 platforms and you just pick the one that you appreciate the best.
Yeah, it makes sense. There does seem to be some serious market saturation when it comes to like link agencies, like you said, within France. And this is something that I think a lot of people, there's some serious opportunity if you are, somebody, for example, in markets like Brazil, or you're in markets like Indonesia or even Japan and things like that, right? There aren't actually very good link building agencies in those countries. And if you can be even if you can be the middleman, so you don't actually have to build the links, you don't have to do anything, right? You just make a platform out of the marketplace for the middleman. There's some massive opportunities in those countries because there just is nobody there fulfilling the need, and there is a need.
I have backstory in that, which is quite crazy, you know. So I was in an event in France, and everyone was like, not everyone, but like half of the audience was like link seller, you know. It's like typical SEO event in France. Everyone is selling links, and so because I was in the gambling industry, I was like here buying links, you know. Hey, who have links to sell for me? And like everybody's come, and I chat with everyone, and I was telling to all of them, to be honest, if you want to sell links easily, go for Japan, you know. Everyone in the Japanese market want to buy links. Nobody want to sell links because Japanese are like, you know, functioning in a different way for business and SEO and link selling and everything. So I was like, just buy some random .gp links, you know, put some translation in that. It doesn't even need to have much keywords, you know, like everybody will buy it for like several €100 just because it's Japanese. So to be honest, just go for it, you know, like free tips for you. I buy links every day in Japan. It's impossible to find good links. So even like, you know, average link, I will buy them. So there is like big markets for link selling that have like so much opportunities, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, there's just some massive opportunities, especially if you're from that country and you speak the language and things. It's so easy to just go and open in those markets and start selling. And like I said, there's an abundance of people that need it, and there's nothing to fulfill it. So go and start a new business tomorrow, guys, when you're based there. So talking about AI, have you been using AI much in your own work?
Yeah, to be honest, a lot for producing content mostly. I don't use Copa, sorry for you. I just use GPT. I just use GPT, classic one, and driven by a good human that have a lot of knowledge on the niche that is working on, you know. Because I think GPT is the best in terms of writings, you know. Like I don't know, I don't remember exactly statistics, but it's like, you know, top 1% of human style writing, something like that. But for the data, it's not really good. For the format, it's not really good. For a lot of stuff about SEO in general, it's not super good. If you just have a good human to prompt it properly, you get like the best content that you can get in the world. Just putting the good inputs, the good prompts, the good data, and you will end up with the perfect stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you see a big difference in the output of AI content in English and French?
Quite a lot on different aspects. I think first aspect, which is interesting, is that as soon as you use GPT to make research, if you make research in French or in English, you get like completely different results. Therefore, you get like completely different inspiration and you get completely different stuff. What I like to do is like use GPT to do the research in English and then ask him to translate it. It's like where you get the best out of it in general, I think. In French, you have like good results overall, to be honest. It's GPT is good in French. There is some language where it's way more complicated, typically Japanese that we were speaking about. But the best style, like get it in English, then translate it. I think it's the best. When you speak the boss language, it's where you get the best content.
Yeah, I think it's the research side that you just said was probably very clever, because the training data in English is probably 100 or maybe even 1,000 times the size of the French training data. So the research side in English will be far superior to the research side in French, but the writing side might be just as good in French, and maybe even better than English to some extent. Is the French scene using AI content quite heavily then? Is it everywhere's now AI content in French?
Yeah, they're quite crazy about it.
Okay.
And they use it. So in France, I know in the international scene it have been less popular, but in French, people get crazy about Google Discover like the last 2 years. But when I say crazy, it's like everybody's speaking only about Google Discover. Every event is like half of the event is about Google Discover. Everybody is so funny because half of the people are selling links and the other one are like trying to get out in the Google Discover. So I think in French right now we have like quite a lot of people really, really advanced in Google Discover. So they were trying so much to automate all of that with AI and like GPT. So a lot of people are using a lot of AI, having super good results. I'm not sure, not crazy ones. Sometimes some good stuff, but not like like fully automatic science. I don't think it will work that much that easily. Like the basics have done so poorly. Yeah, everybody use AI, to be honest. Perhaps not every time in the good way, but everybody tries at least.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anywhere where anybody can find you online and follow you for more information?
On Twitter, that's where I spend most of my time, to be honest. So you can drop my hat Twitter somewhere in the description or anything. And yeah, it has been a pleasure to share this time with you, Charles.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the description down below. Thank you for coming on, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.